So the first question I had for you is, like, did you go to the event, you know, because you were there, like, all day Saturday and all day Sunday, and in town, I guess, on Friday, too. Like, did you go to the event thinking that you might be battling Drake at some point?
It crossed my mind, but it didn't cross my it crossed my mind, but it didn't stick.
Okay.
You know, it crossed there, but I didn't believe it. You know what I mean? So I it came up, and then it just left.
As a notion in your head.
Yeah, you know, it was one of those things. Like, yo, what if I go there and it happened, but then it was like, nah. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. And then, so it feels like, you know, I didn't see it coming at all until about Saturday or a Sunday evening. It kind of occurred to me, like, yo, like, Drake is skipping the Grammys to be here right now. Mook is here right now. They're in the building. Like, this could happen. Then shortly after, I even tweeted that, being like, yo, did you guys understand that this is what the situation is right now? That's before I'd even, like, heard whispers that it was a possibility. Then I started hearing, you know, from different people, different sources, like, yo, it's going down. You know, people are telling me they saw you, like, spitting bars in the bathroom. Like, you know, I'm hearing, like, it's going to happen. And I'm just curious, like, how is it, you know, how did that moment change from you thinking, like, it's not going to go down to you spitting bars in, like, you know, the VIP room or whatever?
Well, this is a story. This is a story. All right. It was gonna happen. So that's your quote. It was gonna happen. It came about. It actually developed maybe about 2 hours before it was over.
The title match.
Yeah. So, you know, Gander came to me and was like, yo, if I could get him to, you know, commit to doing, like, you know, a battle, you know, one round, would you? You know, and I'm like, you know, well, I will have to speak to him. You know what I mean? I want to speak to him first, you know, because I didn't really have any rhymes, no material for him specifically. You know what I mean? And, you know, it was a lot of factors at hand. There was a lot of factors at hand for me. You know,
what kind of factors?
They almost got a free battle. First of all, free. Now, you know, that was like, you know, that was a big issue for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, we're battling, and if I battle him, you know, I wouldn't be able to get any kind of money. But this would be most undoubtedly the biggest battle, period.
Of all time, yeah.
Yeah, and it so at that part, it didn't make sense. You know, and then it was like, you know, this is your league. You're getting money. You know, you put money up to this, whatever. Not saying how much profit you're making, who knows, or maybe if you're getting anything, but you still stand a chance to make whatever comes in. You understand? I just, you know, so that was one. And then it was, I'm like, yo, I don't have material that I will feel comfortable with battling you with right now. Because I feel like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was here for like 3 hours already. You understand?
You're drinking, you're having fun.
I'm drinking. I'm drinking so many beers. Beers are free. You know what I mean? And they wait till about 2 hours before, and he says, you know, he'll do it. So that kind of threw me off too, which means, like, I mean, if you felt like this, why would you not tell me early? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because when I went and spoke to him, I went up and we had a chat, and I'm like, yo, you got some rhymes, don't you? I know you got some rhymes ready. And he was like, yo, no, I don't really have no rhymes ready. You know what I mean? And he gave me like a little grin. And, you know, I knew he had some rhymes. So that was another thing, like, and Organic and Drake, and, you know, they was just like, yo, you know what I mean? Like, maybe if you got something, like, you could mix in with something you already have. And I said, well, I have rhymes. I have regular rhymes. Don't get that twisted. But I would be doing like, so say I just got past everything that, yo, is free, whatever, cool. I would be doing a disservice to the people. Like, if they were to see me go up there, they wouldn't get the Murda Mook that they really want to see.
Right.
You understand? And I don't think people just want to see it because it's Murda Mook and Drake. Like, once Murda Mook and Drake they get wind that it's actually happening, now that high is going to go out the window for them.
Yeah.
And then
like
it's going to be, now we need to hear them. You understand? We need to hear the bars. And regular bars wouldn't have sufficed. You understand? Like, it would have had to be the real Murda Mook. You understand? Like, I would not have wanted the people to see that. But still enough, I told Drake and I told Organic, I said, yo, you know, that's kind of crazy. So they said, well, you know, see if you could come up with something, you know, in these next, like, 2 hours some change. You know, so I said, all right, well, you want me to remember around, you want me to write around and remember it.
Not just a round. You need to write the greatest round of all time.
Right. In 2 hours, right? So they like, yo, they like, you know, so then Drake did some funny shit and was like, he was like, well, you know, well, I'm here. So, you know, if you want to do it, you know, you let me know. If not, you know, it's all right. So I said, so I can't do that. So I immediately go down into the private room. Once I go in the private room, I start thinking of shit, you know, coming up with different things. And about an hour or so in, Organic come to check on me like, yo, so are we going to do it? I said, you know what? Fuck you. Yeah, I'm going to do it. So let's rock. So he's like, all right, I'm going to go tell him, blase, boom, whatever. So I'm like, all right, whatever. And about 15 minutes after that, he comes back downstairs because people did see me spitting my shit in the bathroom and everything. About 15 minutes after that, people, you know, he comes downstairs and, you know, says like, yo, fuck, man, his management, you know, they're getting in the way now. They got mad. You know, they bugging out like, yo, Drake's the fucking biggest artist. What do you guys think you're doing? You can't just do this. You know, things like that. And then all of a sudden it wasn't on anymore. And that's just how it ended. So basically management, you know, from what I got, he was ready. From what I got, he was ready to do it. You know,
and is there, that's a crazy story, man. Like, and is there any, like, you know, there's no end to the story where, you know, you and Drake, like, meet in a parking garage in Toronto after the event and settle it between the two of you?
No, not really, man. Actually, you know what I mean? Yeah, not like that was the last of it, to be honest. But you know, it could have went down. Right. Or maybe he was hyped because he was watching the bars. He felt, you know, because he said he had bars since the morning time. You know.
Yeah.
So,
he even in the press conference he said he had a folder of bars in his phone just in case. Not necessarily for you, but just like he, you know, writes bars.
Yeah, you know, but you know, I think he had some bars for me. I know he did. And so it was you know, but maybe you know, he figured they could probably catch me off guard. You know what I mean? And then if I say, well, you know, I don't want to do it, then the story would maybe come out like, you know, they tried to battle Mook, but he didn't want to do it. You know what I mean? Could have been that. But, you know, then maybe after I didn't want to do it. You know, Drake's his artist, man. You know, I spoke to him in his eyes. He looked like he wanted to do it. I told Organic, man, afterwards that it didn't happen. I said, yo, you know what? I was about to give y'all a free fucking battle just because it was Drake. You understand? But I'm like, yo, just to see that he wanted to battle, that was enough for me. You know what I mean? Like, it was enough that, you know, just to see if he wanted to battle. His management got in at the last minute and said no, that he couldn't do it. You know, that's the things that happen when you are, you know, the biggest rap artist in the world.
Right.
You know,
yeah.
and
with like an entire engine behind you, you know, the whole brand, everything.
Yeah, your decisions don't hurt just you. You know what I mean? They hurt lots and lots of people with lots of things invested. You know, a lot of times people don't see that aspect of being an artist. Like you can, like there's one thing, and no disrespect to, you know, Joe Buttons or Cassidy. You know what I mean? Because definitely they make their mark, and what they're doing, they have lane. But Drake is a different caliber artist, and you know when you start getting that deep, there's a lot of things that people don't see that take place, and one mistake could be costly for everyone around him.
Right.
You know what I mean? Even just for the, you know, as for the brand, his brand. You know, if he goes in there and something goes wrong, you know that could hurt him. That could hurt him. Something goes terribly wrong. But I mean, on the flip side, one more second. I'm sorry. Yes. On the flip side, you know, I say like, you know, I was ready. Like, you know, if he was ready again, then we could really get some money off this. Like, you know, it's like, what are we on this earth for? Drake, let's do it. I want to quote this. I want to say, hey, my man Drake, man. You know, I know this sounds familiar, man, but what are we on this earth for? Let's try to get this thing worked out in a real manner, man, where everything will be safe, the environment will be, you know what I mean? Where you could finish that, because I know he wanted to do it.
This is like turning into the Floyd versus Manny of the battle rap world. Yeah.
Well, I know he wanted to do it, man, and you know I seen it in his eyes, and that they took that moment away from him. I know it sucked because he missed the Grammys, man. Yep. So he really loves to watch this shit. You understand what I'm saying? He loves battle rap, and it's inside of his bones, and he wants to do it. I saw it in his face, man. Like he wants to do it, but you know people are holding him back from that.
Let's hear some of your material then.
Excuse me?
Let's hear some of your material that you had.
I could never do that, ever. I wouldn't do that. You know that. Yeah, you gotta act.
Do you think you would have won?
Yeah, because I had something special planned. I had something very, very special planned, and I'm not going to relinquish that. Huh?
You going to do an antic?
Of a sort, but it was going to be a crazy antic. Like, one of the best of all time, ever. Like, ever. It would have been...
You can't say that and not give us any details.
My antic involved rapping in bars. It wasn't like a, you know, I go through you know what I mean? Everything involved the bars. But it was crazy. But I can't relinquish it because, you know, just in case one day they decide that they want to do it, then, you know, I'll use it.
Amazing. Yeah, I mean, it definitely, it could be the biggest rap battle of all time. It would be the biggest hip hop story of the year, I would say. And you know, what's to say that you guys can't do it in a way similar to how Daylight and Absol had their battle, which was in a controlled environment, you know, recorded and
you know what? You should put that out on your story.
Yeah.
That you suggested that, and I really believe that should be a dope way. Like, if we're not gonna make if nobody wants to make any money or ticket sales and things of that nature, then why don't we do it to something where, you know what I mean? Because we know, like, for him to battle me for what I do, you know, because, you know, I'm out here in the music field as well.
Yeah.
So that'll be big for me in the music field. You know what I mean? And for him to battle me on my turf, like, we all still know him, but we don't know if he can do it. So that'll give a lot of respect for him on my side.
Right.
With this, you know what I mean? Like, people respect him as an artist. Like, you know, don't get it wrong. Like, I got the utmost respect for him, like, as an artist, as a rapper. I really think, you know, I listen to his music a lot, you know, but to actually see that he can do it would take his respect on a different level. You know what I mean? It would put it in a different dimension. So maybe we could do the same exact thing where we go in a controlled environment, maybe a studio, we record it, you know what I mean, and just put it out. It don't even have to be out on the album, even though I would love it to be on this album, because then I would have to get a couple dollars. But, you know what I mean? Maybe he can't do that for me, you know what I mean? But, you know, if that's not the case, then put it out. That'll be dope as well. You know what I mean? Like, that'll be crazy, too. So, but even though people like to visually see battles, you know, but I'm just talking about as a last resort.
Yeah. Yeah. I just know, you know, 6 months from now, there's going to be some story about you guys are in a club in New York and you end up battling in a parking lot at 3 a.m. in front of 3 people and no one records it.
Yeah, it might happen that way. Yeah. You know what I mean? It might happen that way, man.
That's battle rap at its best. That's
battle rap at its best.
Appropriate about that.
It's just, you know, however it goes down, man. I was excited that he agreed to do it. You know what I mean? I was excited that he agreed to do it. Sometimes things happen where, you know, higher powers that be, you know, they make a call and, you know, something goes down.
Yeah.
You know? So.
It's still a hell of a story, man.
Yeah, maybe he called Lil Wayne and asked Lil Wayne and Wayne said no. And then they had to do it after that.
You think so?
I mean, maybe. You know, that's a possibility. Like, yo, Weezy, I'm about to battle Mook right now. Like, yo, it's a fucking Wayne. Like, yo, are you out your mind, yo? Like, yo, you better not. Did you think this through? Maybe he talked. You know, maybe he did that.
Well, there maybe for the undercard of you and Drake, it can be you know, Weezy and Rex.
Nah, Weezy don't want to battle rap, man. Weezy said it already. Weezy, you know, how you doing? Weezy already said, man, like, yo, that battle rap shit is not for him, man. He can't do it. You know what I mean? Like, he you know, he's on record on camera.
Right.
You know, saying I can't fuck with Mook. You know what I mean? Like, yo, Mook, don't come at me, Mook. I can't box with you in battle rap. Please don't swing at my neck. You know what I mean?
I've seen that interview. Yeah, that's good.
You know, no, then well, I don't can't sell no music from him. Like me, you know, I come in there and say, yo, my album about to drop tomorrow, and Lil Wayne's gonna drop tomorrow, and I'm like, yo, I'm gonna beat like that shit is ridiculous. So, you know, like he give it up. That's real. You know, that's real. You gotta respect that. You know what I mean? So maybe Wayne just was like, hell no, Drake, don't do it. Or maybe he was just like, yo, don't do it until next time, so I could be there.
Right. Yeah.
You know, you never know.
Well, that's it. I mean, the event itself was just like, it was so epic, especially that last, you know, 6 or 7 hours on day 2. Really, just like, you know, people are calling it the best, if not one of the top 3 events of all time. And you know, to have that and have it go well, you know.
Yeah. Well, I think it's one of the best. I can't say it's the best. You know what? You know, because it's 2 days, it was a lot of different aspects of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's definitely top 2.
Yeah,
it could be 1 or 2, I think.
Yeah.
I think it could be 1 or 2.
You're thinking about Summer Madness 2 as the other one?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because that was another, like, just, that shit was incredible. Like, it was insane. You know what I mean? You know, it's just, so, you know, it's either or, you know? It's either or because, you know, like some legendary people come back on this card too. You know what I mean? Like, so at the end of the day, it was like it's both, and they had some heavy ass battles. I think the matchups were like perfectly put together for me. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't see a matchup where it was dull, where it was like, well, this doesn't make sense to us. Like, it doesn't match. Styles doesn't, like, everything matched, and I love that about it. You know?
Yeah, it was easily the best event I've ever been to. I wasn't at Summer Madness too, but yeah, like it, you know, the fact that it was 2 days, that it incorporated like all sorts of different elements, that it had, you know, all of this stuff happening. But I think, you know, with Summer Madness too, you have the added perspective of however long it's been, 2 or 3 years since that's all happened. So like,
right,
or I guess 3 years ago, I think. So it's kind of like, you know, 3 years from now, are we still going to be talking about Blackout 5 as this like, you know, pinnacle of battle rap the way we talk about that today?
You know, maybe maybe me and Drake would have went down. It would have been the best ever. But you know, you know,
who knows?
It's cool.